What's up, Mr. Pankert?
It's quiet.
Welcome to Weekly. LinkedIn tells me we are live.
Wow. I don't have notifications on, but that's cool. How many people are getting a push notification in this minute? What do you think?
How many million?
Just in million.
Just in a million. I'd say at least a couple. No, I mean, I don't know if everybody who subscribed. I think our page has more than 6,000 people on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I don't know if everyone gets it. I'm not sure.
I think you have to sign up. Probably.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
Okay, how's your week going, Ben?
Quite actually, not so bad. I'm happy about it.
Well, actually, Priscilla and Christina tell us that they got one. Naman also got one. So good to know, guys. But it doesn't always work. That's a shame. Well,
Damn.
at least we know some people are getting them. That's good to know.
Priscilla, Christina, Neman. Is that how you pronounce it? I don't know. Welcome to the show.
Naman.
What do you... Naman. Neman. I don't know. How would you pronounce it?
Yeah, Naman. You kind of got there in the end. Okay, anyway. Thanks, guys. Thanks for letting us know. The notifications are working. We're back again for another week. Ben, how has your week been before we get into the week of sports?
Again, like I said, it's a quiet one, which I enjoy. Yeah. The only problem is the weather is not so great in Berlin. It's gray, it's cold, it's
it's not so bad over here. It's getting better. I think we're getting into this. We're getting into the summer. There's a warmth coming in the air. Not here yet, but we'll get there.
Like Man United, who's kicking out every second player from the squad, it seems.
I mean, Pogba leaving is finally. I mean, the rest, Matic, Mata, Lingard, I mean, it's just a shame. It's a shit show. We know this. We don't have, but actually, there is some United news which we will share on the show, which I was super surprised by. But we'll get to that later.
Really? I didn't see it. Yeah, I think the squad needs some new energy.
Ben, I'm the dad, yet you have the jokes. This is how it goes.
Not only do I have jokes, I also brought some news. Let's kick it off.
Kick it off.
As per usual already, we're starting with a bunch of funding news. 3 as per usual. That's for our North American audience. That's for our European audience. How would you show 3 in India? You're kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you serious? There's a third option how to show 3.
Yeah.
Wow. It's Europe, Asia, North America.
This, I think, this is more like I don't know if this is actually North America. This is just like when it's raining threes from Steph Curry, and you go, yeah. I've never seen an American actually do this. Well, no, but I would do 3. Am I wrong?
I mean, you're a movie guy. You're a movie guy. Haven't you watched Inglourious Bastards?
Yeah, I know. I know the German one, but the American one.
It implies that there is a different one.
Yeah. I got that, but I thought this was the one. I think this is the other.
However, Pixellot raised 161 million at a 500 million valuation. Before I come to all details, I think the description here, and let me highlight this, is one of the best ones that I've seen about what Pixellot does. I think it has everything that's needed. The Israeli startup has developed a system that automatically captures, produces, and streams games and their highlights to any device, live or on demand. I think that's a really good summary.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd agree. Pixellot, I mean, for anybody who doesn't know, Ben summed it up perfectly, or the article did, but they raised a lot of money, didn't they?
Yeah, 161 million. Interestingly, before that round, they only had raised 60 million to date from a bunch of investors.
Only.
But I mean, compared to the 161, right? That's a lot. And yeah, they're going to expand geographically. The article mentions Asia and Latin America. So far, they're especially in Europe and North America. And there are already 18,000 Pixellot systems deployed all around the world. And they have streamed games from 62 countries. When it comes to investors, it's a very Israeli thing. So past investors have mainly been from Israel, new ones mainly from Israel. So as we all know, it's a fantastic startup ecosystem. They support each other. They push in a lot of money, and also in this case. Just adding, Christina mentioned in the chat that North America does 2 of those. Yeah. So the question is, which one does North America not do? I would say probably not the German one. Yeah. If I'm wrong, just let me know, Christina.
Sorry, before you jump to the next one, just quick shout out to Alon and Yossi and team. We've actually featured them in our content in a couple of years ago. Super cool guys. Congratulations to them. Nobody's probably watching this, but yeah, just some good energy to those guys. Great job.
You got to believe in our reach, man. You got to believe in our reach. Second news. I always I don't know. I have a soft spot for these kind of solutions. I find them somehow cool. Maybe especially because you and I will probably never own VR goggles in our lives, as it seems. Not the German one. See, Christina, I was ready. I was right. So WinReality, training tool for baseball and softball. You put on your VR goggles and you can simulate the hitting process, basically. We have seen that for other sports, for hockey, for soccer, I think for American football, we've seen it. So a bunch of different things. And also for softball and baseball, this is now something that is offered. If you go to the website, you can see or get a good impression of what they actually do right away.
Yep.
So this is, of course, a simulation of a baseball field. You see the pitcher, you do your hit, and you see where the ball would fly. Pretty cool stuff, actually. I would like to test that. I think even more than hockey or something else, because it's a very let's say focused activity. Question, Ron. Have you seen something like that for cricket already? Because I immediately had to think about it.
VR, no, not.
Isn't that an obvious step?
Yeah, I would think so. There are a couple of big announcements coming today. There is the president of the BCCI, Saurav Ganguly, which is the board of cricket in India, he's doing one of those reality show cliffhanger things. He's saying there's a big announcement coming at 12 o'clock today. The new solution that he's offering. I kid you not. I don't know what that solution is yet. But yeah, maybe it's going to be VRs for cricket. Who knows? Probably not. But no.
All right. And then funding round number 3.
Coming to India.
Number 3. No, it's 4. Damn it. 3. A startup that honestly I have never heard about. Have you heard about them before?
No, I haven't seen them before.
It's an esports fan engagement startup, as it reads. But actually what they do is they are in the collectibles and NFT business. So I think you should rather say digital collectibles and NFT startup, Stan, got 2.5 million. When I think about Stan, the first thing that comes to mind is Monkey Island. Have you played Monkey Island when you were younger?
No, actually, I was going to say I thought you were going to say Eminem, the song Stan.
See, I'm older than you are. No, it's
Monkey
Island is my favorite computer game. My favorite computer game. And Stan was a sales guy who was always selling something else. So whenever I read the name Stan, I have to think about that guy. However, there's now also a esports NFT startup. And I mean, it's nothing new really. You can collect, play, and trade cards from your favorite esports players and content creators. Maybe that's the interesting part, that you can also get NFTs from content creators. To be honest, I'm not even sure how that works, how they select which content creators are turned into an NFT. But the rest is pretty straightforward. You can collect the items, play with them, and of course they also have some rewards, both in the physical and also in the virtual world. Yeah, not much else I think that is needed to mention there.
Yeah, I mean, before I say anything, Christina has a comment, Ben. I'm curious to know your thoughts. She loves the specific niche market NFT solutions. So this one is specifically focused on esports within India. I guess that's where they're starting with. Do you think that one has legs? Is there scope to scale from niche to go up, or is it what we've seen right now, which is more broad coming in?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a winner takes it all market, or a few winners in some sports and geographies. But it doesn't mean that this is not going to be successful. I mean, if they can establish themselves with significant numbers, with significant rights, I'm sure they have a good chance of being acquired by the big ones. But becoming one of the few who are going to build like one of the massive ones, that might become a bit harder.
Yeah. I think the second part of what is numbers users, yeah, they might, it might be a hit or miss, but the rights is the big one. We've talked about this before. It's if they hold good IP to good esports teams or good esports streaming properties, etc., they can be successful. Quick shout out to battlegrounds like Mobile India and Free Fire titles. A quick shout out to the esports market in India in general. We've seen a lot of action in the last, let's say, 2-3 months. We saw Router raise 20 million. We saw another company, Loco, which we featured on our podcast, raise 42 million. I mean, those are much broader. They're more streaming based. And now a company like Stan raising 2.5 million. So lots of action in esports in India for anybody else that's tracking this market. Exciting times.
Absolutely. Speaking about exciting times, what can you
Exciting
share?
times for, actually, I mentioned Router, and Router came out of an accelerator program run by these guys, leAD, which was their former program run out of Berlin. Now they have a new program out of Lake Nona, which is a smart city, Ben, in Orlando. Am I correct? Yes. I don't know who, apart from the lead guys, have been there. I don't. No, I'm joking. It's a new city. Let's shall we say it's a new city built as new smart cities are. And actually, it's a very cool idea that at the start of the offering itself, uh, they Ben, you're disappearing on me. Don't go, Ben. Don't go.
I needed a second for myself.
Wait a second. No, okay. So we'll bring it back. No, so at the start, right from the formation, they included an accelerator which is focused on sports and health tech. I think if you haven't heard of Lake Nona lead Lake Nona program before, I think it was nice that the city itself started with the idea of being an incubator for this vertical. Um, and they just announced their third cohort. Yeah, as I said, it's based out of Orlando. Um, blah blah blah. They want to invest in sports and health tech. They had 600 applications, less than 1% accepted. Lots of quotes from the people running the program, Christoph and them. More interestingly, are the startups. Lots of stats on where the applications came from, etc. But these are the companies. There's a blockchain-based loyalty programs company on Encore. Um, that's from New York. Encore makes me think of Jay-Z. Gemini Sports from Florida as well. They are focused on athlete data. Icaro, also from Florida. They're basically a lot of guys from the US and one from Netherlands. And it was actually only one from Europe, all the others from the US. Icaro was basically around health tech, about promoting blood flow through light technology. This is a wearable patch SM24. Source is FIBA, so wearables, and Wavy from Groningen, Netherlands, is an AI health assistant. Right, so these are dealing with mental health and a couple of other topics. So sports and health tech is the focus for the Lake Nona Accelerator. 6 new companies on the radar. I like that they give faces of the founders as well. So faces, names, check these companies out.
Yeah, I mean, once again, a selection of startups where I did not know the companies before.
Yeah.
It seems to be a pattern this year. I mean, there's always some typically that we know, but those I didn't. But it might also be because they go a bit into this health sector area as well. Maybe more
Actually,
than.
Ben, I have a question for you.
Mhm.
Of all these cities, which ones have you been to? New York, Miami, Orlando, Scottsdale, Orlando, and Groningen.
Only two of them. Guess which two?
I'm going to say New York, obviously, because we've been there together. And you sound like the kind of guy who's been to Scottsdale, Arizona. I get that vibe. No.
No, I stayed close to Germany.
Okay. So Groningen, actually, I was feeling. Have you been there? Is
Yeah,
that the
it's
same
an
one?
interesting city. It's I mean, I was a bit younger, and it's a very student-ish city, so good to be there.
Interesting. All right, cool. So those are the 6 companies. Guys, check them out when you can.
Yes, yes, yes. All right, on to the next one. What have we got? We are staying in the accelerator space. Even though I have to say, before I get into it, I was a tiny bit confused about what they're actually doing there. Um, no, I mean, I get the basic idea, but I had a few question marks. So, for starters, it is a fan engagement challenge organized by La Liga, or La Liga Tech to be more specific, because it's about tech solutions. And they say they do it with SportBoost. But, and here comes the first confusion, if you later check, if you go on the acceleration page, it also says it's in collaboration with Vera.
Yeah. So
So,
Vira started Sport Boost.
okay, there we go. So SportBoost is a project by Vera.
It's Sport Boost is by Vira and Iker Casillas.
Okay, understood. Okay, so I mean, then it makes a lot of sense that Iker Casillas is doing something with the Spanish league, right? And what I then found really interesting is how open they were about what they're actually looking for. So if we, I mean, here you read what are the objectives of the challenge. There, it's pretty normal. But if you, where was it? Let me check. Oh no, it was underneath here. Sorry. It says, like, very specifically, learn more about the interests and tastes of the fans. Get a user to spend more time on average consuming competition assets. Monetize user and fans, and come up with new formulas for communication between the competition and the fan. So far, when we read about acceleration or innovation initiatives, it was, I wouldn't say a bit blah blah, but it stayed a bit more on the surface. They never, like, specifically said, keep the fan on the page, monetize the hell out of the user, and then we're good. I think, or I appreciate that they're so blunt, but I haven't seen it like that before. Maybe to add on that, in which areas are they looking specifically? The ones that you see here: data exploitation, fan analytics, interactivity on OTT or TV platforms, social networking, esports, gaming, NFTs, of course, and new channels of communication. So very broad field, actually. And what a startup, startups can apply. The application is a couple of weeks open. The interesting is what the startups actually get. And a couple of things are interesting. So you definitely get a pilot. I think this is probably the most powerful one, because you can actually test your solution in a real world scenario with a league that has a big audience, that has a standing reputation internationally. So this can really be a door opener. You get the acceleration from Vera, who of course experts in that field, and you also potentially get an investment if it makes sense. But I think what's especially cool is that you get the pilot, and in the context of monetizing the fan, I think that's a very clear proposition there. And now my screen disappeared. What do you think?
Yeah. Oh, good. Actually, 3 comments there, 2 specific to this case and 1 a general one. The first one, really like the initiative. This is run by La Liga Tech, which is a separate, let's say, entity within La Liga. They have carved out a tech-based entity, and this is part of their initiative. So we're seeing more action from La Liga Tech. La Liga has demonstrated for a while now that they're kind of like the NBA in a way, which is that they're really trying to move forward. They're trying to drive an agenda around tech and be innovative. And they're trying something. I appreciate that. I mean, they are basically a 2-team league, and they're trying to do other things to break that in 10 years' time, which I appreciate, number one. Number two, SportBoost themselves, they have an accelerator program that they're running parallelly, this is a separate thing, which they're running with La Liga. I found it slightly strange that the application process is open only for 15 days. I think they opened it on the 31st of May, and it's running only till 15th June. So
That's
it's like,
July.
okay, maybe that's why I misread it. But it says 45 days then somewhere. Okay, maybe that's my mistake. So I was like, okay, then second point is invalid. Um, But third point, I just wanted to, I mean, this is nothing to do with them, but as you said, the wording was so clear on the website, which is monetization of fans and stuff. And it was more an observation, like in light of what we've seen happen in the Champions League final, the actual fiasco that we saw there in terms of how fans were treated. And
Hmm.
yet, all sports is doing and every sports organization is just trying to monetize fans. At the same time, they don't treat them well enough. I mean, Champions League final was over the top. What happened to the Liverpool fans? Yet it seems like the squeeze of like either trying to increase ticket prices, trying to constantly sell, sell, sell. I think that some place fans have to be given a break, or you can find better ways to monetize or something. I think sustainable capitalism has to come into sports as well. This American mindset of really pushing the monetization with the angle with fans is starting to get a bit uncomfortable, at least for me. I don't know. Maybe I'm alone here, but I think sports needs to do a better job in general of treating the fans. But
Yeah.
that's a whole other topic, not maybe for this show. It just
I mean, I agree. I mean, I appreciate that they are so open about it because they just say what it is while others don't do it.
yeah,
But it's still called the fan engagement challenge, not the fan monetization challenge. So
yeah,
they're still trying to hide it a little bit. But yeah, I keep being surprised as a last comment. In Europe, it's basically only La Liga and I would say also EFL in Germany who are doing good innovation stuff.
yeah,
The other leagues are
yeah.
very quiet, and especially I'm always surprised that the Premier League
Premier
doesn't
League.
do more. It's, I mean, don't they have to because they have enough money, or what is it? They just don't do anything. It feels like.
Yeah, it's a really interesting point. I mean, I was having a conversation just earlier in this week with somebody who sits on the board of Brentford FC. It's a much smaller club, but it's a Premier League club. This person I met recently, and we were talking about innovation, and I was like, actually, it's amazing. The German clubs in general do so much. There are so many Spanish clubs who do so much. The two leagues themselves do so much, but in the Premier League, it's hard to see. Which is actually a very interesting segue to the next story.
Go for
Uh,
it.
yeah, which is one I actually quite like. It was so Sports Innovation Lab, which is a Boston-based company. Yeah, this is who they are. They technically, in some way, competition of ours. So, I mean, shout out to Angela and them. But I mean, when they do good work, I think we're happy to appreciate it. This is what SIL is. They do fan intelligence data. They do market research around sports innovation, which is what we do, but they do it in different ways. Yeah, and one of the things that they did was they announced a list of the most innovative sports franchises globally. Yeah, so what does innovation mean? Here are the parameters that they have defined. So generating revenue from non-traditional sources, so things like NFTs, etc. Uh, a front office that is diverse and has business intelligence, so basically empowering their non-sporting side, investing in business accelerators, so sports accelerators, community outreach, having a women's team, and engaging in fans so that they feel ownership in the club. So trying to get the fans more involved. So these are the parameters that they evaluated on. And any guesses? Well, Ben, I know you have read the article. If anybody wants to hazard a guess on who ended up in first, I'm not going to wait for your guesses, but I hope you had one in mind. That is the top 10 just squeezing into the screen. FC Barcelona and Real Madrid, the two Spanish giants, ranked 1 and 2. And then it is a few Premier League clubs. My biggest shock is how the hell Man United are in sixth place because, as we know, FC Barcelona, Real Madrid, FC Barcelona have had a sports innovation hub. I think the longest for any club in Europe that we know of. I think they started in 2014, then 15. I'm not sure. But yeah, they've actually been investing in innovation for a long time. Yeah, the club format is a membership based format. Socio, same with Real Madrid. They launched Real Madrid Next, I think, almost 3 years ago now. These guys have actually been investing in innovation or in innovative ideas for a while. Similarly with Arsenal, same with Man City, where we've seen these teams go out and actually launch innovation initiatives. Arsenal did one many years ago, went dormant. They brought it back this year. The 76ers, they have 76 Capital. They have the Sixers Innovation Lab. These are clubs that are actually doing something visibly. After that, you see Man United, who I have not seen them do anything. So I'm super surprised to see them so high up on this list. And more, sorry, Ben, just before I bring you in, your team, the two German clubs, I mean, they're on the list, but a bit further down. Dortmund, we know, super innovative. Munich also, they do media for equity and stuff. But what have Man United done to deserve such a high spot? I don't know. But yeah, anyway, so the story goes on to talk about, interestingly, not too many US teams on here. The first is the 76ers, the Braves, and then it goes on to the rest of the teams. Yeah, really interesting to see where different teams rank and how it seems like European football taking 5 out of the top 6 spots, 6 out of the top 8 spots, with Liverpool in eighth, is really leading the way.
Man, I I have to be careful not to be too open about it, but I think this list is a joke. No,
Oh, come on, man.
seriously, no. I can tell you why.
It's good PR. Why?
Yeah, that's it. That's what it is.
Yeah.
No, seriously. I mean, who's Sports Innovation Lab? Who's their audience? Who are they selling to? Mainly US sports teams and all of that. So does it help to say, hey, all the others are better and they're more innovative? Yes, it does. No, but seriously, I mean, Manchester United never ever are they supposed to be up high so much, and you cannot tell me, like seriously tell me that clubs, teams like the Golden State Warriors, other NFL teams are not higher than all of these football teams here. Seriously, definitely not.
Look at the cynicism. Look at Ben as the skeptic.
No, yeah, but clearly, but if you go back to the criteria, I mean, one of the example, just one example before we talk about the whole thing. Yeah, engaging fans so they feel they have ownership in the club, and at some point they mentioned the fan tokens by socios. No true fan uses them. No fan feels they have ownership in the club. And maybe people or clubs do something, but what is the outcome of it? What's the quality out of it? It's not just, yeah, they do something, yeah, they do something, yeah, they do something. So I personally, I don't believe at all in that system and in that list. It's great PR. Everybody's picking it up. Everybody's like, oh, what can we learn from these great European clubs? I think it's a joke. Cheers.
There you go, Benjamin Penkert, laying down the smackdown.
That list is horrible. Horrible.
It's a great talking point. For me, I think it's a great idea by SIL. But you can question the validity. I'm not as skeptical as you, saying that they've intentionally put European teams on it up high just to show that the American teams are not doing well, so that they get more work. I don't know about that. But I think it's a good conversation piece. I think it's a good conversation starter, good innovation from them to come out with something like this. And yeah, I think it's something that can be built on. Can it be improved? Can be refined? Sure. But I think it's a nice starting point to see how Man United got on the list, though. Yeah, I don't know how to get on that.
I think we should do a list as well. I have a really nice bag here. We can write team names on a piece of paper, throw it in there, and draw a few, and then we have a great list.
Oof. Ben being harsh. I've never seen you be so. I think bitchy is the word.
Don't. No, I'm not gonna say it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, either ways, I like the conversation piece. The validity of the list, to an extent. I mean, you can see at least the top 3-4 teams we know are doing stuff. The others, I don't know. There are names on here which, I mean, for the American sports, I can't comment too much. Also, their structures don't allow them to do too much with ownership and stuff. But that's changing now. Let's see how this. I'll be curious to see next year's edition.
I'm not. But in general, I think sports tech on a broader scale needs a bit more controversial conversation, and not everything is great and cool.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is a list to do. Okay, last one. Let's go.
Last one. Yeah, in all my emotions, I have not brought up the right page. Give me a sec. But
yeah, but actually, the last one is there are a couple of good angles here. I really like this. This story.
Absolutely, it's a cool one.
Yeah.
Here we go. Get rid of that list. Boom. So This, my friends out there, is a glass court. So what you see there on the ground is not your typical, I don't know, whatever material that court is. It is entirely made of glass, and not just stupid glass. It's smart glass. So it's basically, yeah, an LED glass flooring, and that opens up a range of different options. First of all, to rule that out, there's no disadvantage of playing on these courts. So some people might be worried that if you fall there, I don't know, you would have those, what do you call them, burns from the glass if you, I don't know, fall on it, scratch over it, all of that. So it's tested intensely, and it is now cleared by the FIBA, the International Basketball Association, for their top tier matches. So official basketball matches can take place on that court now. And it opens up a range of different options. First of all, if you have just one big glass floor, you can like use it for different kind of sports. So I don't know, you can program a basketball court, you can program, I don't know, squash court, all of that, without having ice hockey, without having to draw new lines or change anything. So immediately your court becomes a multi-sport court, so to speak. And as we all know, we live in the age of fan engagement and content creation. What you can do now is you can of course show some sponsors on the ground. You can of course add some fancy color scheme like the one that we see on here. But also very interestingly, and I found it interesting in the article, you can even show stats from the game. While that is not new for the people who are sitting at home, because they can have overlays on their TV screen, but the people in the stadium, they are not limited to that one screen that is maybe up, like below the ceiling, but you can actually see the stats right on the ground, like a large screen for that. And in this on this page here, we actually also have a promotion video. Let me quickly show you a few examples here. So this shows again that it can be used by a ton of different games, and as you can see, it just looks really, really cool. It immediately brings a certain atmosphere. The only thing I was wondering is, does it have to be like really dark in order for you to see the lines on the ground, or can they also do a white ground with let's say colored marks around the floor? I don't know. But it immediately gives you the feeling of some fancy, cool new cyber sport or something like this. However, I assume if the FIBA is going to have their official games there, it must look somewhat close to the court that everybody's used to, I think. And as I've seen before, it's an elastic ground, so it's not as hard as one might think. Overall, it just looks very, very cool. Before I keep my monologue going, getting your impression quickly.
No, I mean, obviously super cool. I think there is a lot to like about the idea. Opportunities are tremendous. Yeah, nothing else to say other than can't wait to actually be in a stadium or an arena where you have a court like this.
I've tested it once. I've seen it in Munich at the ISPO, and it was a basketball court, and there was like a light on the ground, and it followed you wherever you went. That was already pretty cool.
Nice.
And yeah, so that is one news when it comes to, let's say, in-game entertainment, to give it a theme here. And there's a second one that is probably equally cool, and something that has been in the making for quite a while now. I think ever since we started our little project here, we have seen this startups doing this. So it's body cams for players on the field, obviously. A company called Mindfly, and they have signed a deal with the Euroleague. So we're again in the field of basketball, and you will see interesting content from the player's perspective. Again, we have a video here. Make that a bit bigger. So the players are wearing those chest, whatever you call them, chest straps.
Vests.
There's a little camera. Of course, everybody has to make sure that nobody gets injured, but you can get amazing footage. I mean, look at that, right from the player's perspective. And if this is going to develop into a new standard, I think at some point we're going to wonder, why did we not ever have that before? I mean, now we are so limited to cameras in and around the stadium, or the court. Why don't we have anything that's sitting right with the players? So that is pretty cool. On the other hand, the question always is, um, how transparent do we want to get? I mean, right now they're not equipped with microphones, as far as I know, but maybe at some point they will. So at some point you will see every small hidden foul, every conversation, maybe also conversation that should stay between two players, or when players are discussing some tactics or something like this. So I think just a camera is cool. Microphones, I probably wouldn't go that far. And by the way, you might have seen it here somewhere. Here, the Bayern Munich example. Here we, let me pause it for a second. Here we are quickly in the NFT game again. This is what is mentioned in the video. So Bayern Munich is already offering NFTs from those body cams on a marketplace, but it's only from the training sessions. So another content piece that can be monetized in a way. All in all, cool stuff. Would you like to see it?
Yeah, for sure. I think the idea of the content is super interesting. The AI apparently is in the stabilizing effect of the camera, because there's the players moving around and the camera is going all over the place. The AI controls the point of view in a better way and will add other layers of intelligence. No, definitely. I think the idea of engagement, to create another view, to go deeper within the game. We're seeing a lot of this being done through either virtual worlds or real-time graphic representations of the same renderings of the same game. So in the graphic version of the game, you can go and change POV and stuff. But imagine if you could do it live in the game. That's really cool. To your point on sound, actually, that's the first thing I thought of as well. Because, for example, the NBA does mic'd up. There are some players who will always be mic'd up. The MLB, in fact, I was reading an article just a couple of days ago in the research for the show. They've been doing more mic'd up stuff, and now actually the batter, when he comes into bat, is mic'd up and they're talking, and the pitchers actually, I mean, obviously the sports teams and sports leagues want to go deeper and want to bring the fan closer and closer, but they have to tread a very thin line.
Yes.
Yeah, to where it goes too much, and at what point are we exposing the teams a bit here. So, and in fact, I think I forget which team it was, but the batter said he by himself took off the earpiece just before going into bat, even though he was supposed to go on to bat with the earpiece. He said, I don't. He cracked some joke. I don't want you guys to hear this, but he drew a personal line, which I think was fair. Yeah, and
Yeah, I mean,
obviously,
just imagine. I mean, let's say it's an important game, it's Champions League final or something. All substitutions have been made, and one player, I don't know, maybe feels something in the leg, and it's clear that he or she cannot play that well anymore, and they have to communicate it to their teammates and say, hey, I'm having some issues. Make sure that I don't have to, like, no small like tactics, saying, hey, I feel like this guy is weak when we, I don't know, get him on his left side, or I don't know. Like, there has to be some tactical compensation room for
actually, what you're talking about, Ben, is, I mean, so Formula One is already playing with this line, right? So Formula One already has a lot of driver conversation that we as fans can hear real time. How Formula One manages it, to the best of my knowledge, is that there is a public channel, so a driver can switch to a public channel and say private things that, hey, my tires are wearing, left front, left right, and a lot of that is play as well, because they're providing information which they know all the other teams can hear also. But Formula One does it that way. They let the teams control it, and the broadcaster controls it. So there's two points of control. So the team sends out some information which they have a public and private channel, and then the broadcaster also can become another level of filtration to say what actually goes out into the public view. So Formula One is already doing this in a big way. I'm sure it'll spread to other sports. But just to end on the comment, because we've got another chat and we're actually way over time, but I'm sure you've seen it already. Parvez Alam says NFTs are unbearable for him. Still don't understand why it's portrayed as the next big thing in sports. And then he goes on to say some things about us. Parvez, feel free to reach out to Ben or me to talk about other things. But yeah, I mean, we don't have to go into the topic of NFTs. Ben is is super bullish about them. I've always been a bit skeptical, but I'm not bearish at all. I don't feel the way you do, Parvez. I think NFTs are definitely part of the conversation of the future. Yeah, I think both Ben and I agree on one thing, or rather three things. It's utility, utility, utility. Um,
Three things.
Three things. Three things. What a way! What a way to bring it back home. We brought it back home.
We're 10 minutes. You talk 10 minutes more than we typically talk. What happened?
I think we got all excited with all the news and all. I think I got excited with how much you were in taking a dump on the SIL list.
I was reading it a couple days ago, and yeah, I felt that way. So when you picked it, I was like, okay, I got to say something.
Hey, that's why
I'm
we
just
do it, man.
saying, guys out there, read something and paint your own picture. Like, question what is happening there.
I agree, but I think whether I like the list or not, I think having the list is good. I think it's a great conversation starting point.
I'll come with the list for next week.
Yeah, but that's our show, guys, and we've gone way over. Sorry for those who had to bounce out, or thanks.
Thank you for the comments today.
That was cool.
All right. Have a good week, everyone. Cheers.